Hey guys, just Gadamu here, and today I'm doing another dye tutorial video. So, one of the things I love to do is to dye action figures. I'm not saying I'm the most advanced person who ever lived on this, but I've dyed hundreds of action figures. Though mostly all Gundam Mobile Suit action figures. This guy doesn't have a head, but he's a prime example of a dyed figure. This was a Gundam version 1.5 MSAA figure. So Gundam is mostly known for its model kits, but there's a long dead action figure line called Mobile Suit Action. I love them. They're PVC flexible figures with hard plastic joints. You can pop out the hard plastic joints and then you can dye the plastic. They're really great for this. They don't melt unless it's like a hard plastic, and I don't mean the hard plastic joints, those endure. This guy was once blue and red like this. I removed the paint and I dyed him orange. And so I'm camping for my 16th wedding anniversary. Woo! 16 years! Yeah! I don't know why she puts up with me, but she's beautiful.
He's wonderful.
I'm rather blessed. So I'm taking these RX-78 Gundam chests and I'm removing the paint so I can make more GM variations that never got figures in this now dead toy line. Yes, I know, I could just buy the model kits. But you know what? I'm an action figure customizer. That's what I do. Gotta make a GM light armor, but a version 2. So 1.5. I'm that eccentric. So I've removed all the joints from here with, a hairdryer and all, making it quite ready for me to just remove the paint. So how do we do this? Well, my magic friend acetone, which, contrary to what I said, is not an acid, it's a solvent. Thank you, random commenter number 5. Vinegar for the dye process, that's an acid. So you're going to want some kind of kitchen glove. This protects your hands from the solvent, which will eventually chemical burn your fingers. You will end up getting some of it on your fingers unless gloves are cumbersome, but there's certain stages that it's useful for. Cotton squares. So for first stage, and by the way, you're always going to want to test on some junk plastic. You junk broken action figure of the same style, just take a dab of a Q-tip, a little container, and, for your test, you're going to just want to be like, okay, is it melting the plastic or is it just removing the paint? Is it melting the plastic or is it just removing the paint? These are particularly strong against the solvent of the acetone, though if you go over too many times, it will start to wear down the plastic. You can see this guy I've just started the process on. This one's mid-process. I'm not really worrying about this backpack on the back, but if you're trying to protect certain parts, you can, if I was trying to protect the neck here, just keep the neck yellow. I would cover it in wall mounting putty, Loctite wall mounting putty or Gorilla Glue wall mounting putty. Either of those are a pretty good company. Sometimes the wall mounting putties, they're not all made equal. This cockpit block has been started. This one's been completely paint removed, albeit there's a little more details to do. So you'll never get all the paint off unless it's a really smooth surface. But the dye is going to fill in a lot of those cracks. Also, at the hobby stores, you can get specialty Q-tips. This is just a normal Q-tip. You can get specialty Q-tips, which are sometimes like a synthetic material, like nylon, and you can get into those little spots. See these little holes? And little nooks, So I forgot those on my trip, but I'm going to do that later. That said, for getting into some of those other spots, for a big piece, take one of these, dip it in the acetone, make sure you're using the glove for that one, and just, in fact, I'm just going to show it. This will be the longer tutorial. I've done really short tutorials, and some people really like all of the gory details. So this thing's been acetone. I'm still touching it to a degree. Some of the factory paint will get on your hands. Then you just acetone it off. But take this side here and just tons of paint just coming off. And it's a pretty fast process. It's the details that get you. So I probably should have said at the start that the paint, it hinders the dye. Also, the plastic will dye underneath the paint, but the paint's still in the way. You can't see your dye work. So this means that you can, dye things that you might not begin. I one time had somebody that like, I'm trying to paint this stormtrooper, but he won't dye. Well, that's probably because he wasn't actually white plastic. He was painted. And so the plastic underneath really matters. These are kind of a whitish color underneath, so, game on. If it was black underneath, well, forget it. Like, it's a candidate for paint and paint only. Because your base color plastic always affects what you want to make. Anyways, I get a lot of the majority that way, and then I use a regular Q-tip. And I'll just work on getting some of the rest out of there. The Q-tip's good and painted, then, you switch out. Now, a trick, and this guy isn't far enough along, but this guy is, for getting, like, into those nooks and crannies is you can take your finger, the gloved finger, and you can press. Just really push in there. And so there's this nook in there. You can see I've got some of the paint out just by pushing. And you just do this until you get most of the paint off of your figure, or wherever you wanted the paint off of your figure. It's a time-consuming process. I find it really relaxing. And I'm just kind of mass-producing these because I have plans for these. I've been hoarding these figures, getting them in trade, etc., so that I can make things like the GM light armor, whose head peg is broken, but I'll repair him someday, and cool stuff like that. GM variants are the mass production Gundams, and you don't have to wear this glove all the time because your fingers are just going to get really sweaty and gross, but it's good when you're using one of these. Now, it might be good to wear eye protection when you're wearing this, because I have had weird scenarios where I went like this, and then it went into my eye. And it's like, I just drooled. Gross. And it's like, my eyes, water bottle. Acetone won't make you go blind, but it hurts like hell. I'll tell you that. Don't plan on doing that again, but I didn't plan on it in the first place. So freak accidents can happen. I know you're like, so you must be wearing eye protection right now. Aren't you, Joshua? Of course I am. Of course.
And you should too.
You should too. Because, yeah.
There's also fumes, so good idea.
Yeah, make sure you do this outside. Do not do this indoors. But it means that you can dye a lot of things that you wanted to dye, but you couldn't really change that blue and red paint on there. But you can. Not all things are painted, though. With some things, that's just the color of the plastic. So I hope this is useful, opens up more doors with your action figure customizing or whatever kind of plastics you might be dyeing, so that you can make, new variations of really cool figures, and even dead toy lines that you are going to keep going all by yourself. Shout out to all the Masters of the Universe customizers out there. I don't collect those anymore, but I think you guys are awesome. Well, stay tuned for more dye videos. Busier than I used to be, so I don't get to make them as often. But I still got plans. I'll see you guys later.